Pressure is ramped up as the first race of the playoffs are underway from Kansas Speedway. Chandler Smith jumps out in front of Jones on this start.
Jones, the pole sitter, has the option to choose inside or outside. He chose outside, which I think is a good plan as long as you can stay door to door into turn one. But he was beaten pretty pretty severely out of.
Oh, sideways for fourth right now. Is he going to save it? He does. What a save right there. That was Connor Zilic in the 88. Slid all the way through turn four.
You said it, Rick. That was a great save. And look at all the playoff drivers behind him that are glad he saved that race car. If not, they could have been caught up in it.
And now nose to tail, here comes Parker Kligerman to the outside in the 48. So Connor Zilic in that yellow 88 right in the middle. What a save here. Take a look at this again.
Yeah, you see he drives in the corner. And then right behind him, the 20 car of Eric Almirola. When he gets that front nose to his rear bumper, it takes the air off that spoiler, loses downforce. And just a great save by Connor.
He was sideways, and he's still racing. Connor Zilic, well, he fell all the way back to 8th.
This is his first experience in an Xfinity car at this type of racetrack, and he is learning a great deal right now. Drove into turn 3, really not knowing what to expect. And got a hard lesson right there, but no damage to the car. Off he goes.
Bottom left, you see a penalty for the 51 of Jeremy Clements, a restart violation. You cannot change lanes before the start-finish line. He did, therefore he's going to do a pass-through. There he is, the 51 on pit road. He'll lose a lap coming down pit road. He'll have opportunities to get the lap back, but definitely starts the race off on the wrong foot.
Sam Mayer in that one dove to the bottom of the racetrack. One of the playoff drivers. Again, playoff drivers on the left side, as you see them scored, the purple line underneath each one of their names indicates that they are a playoff driver. See the 8 of Sammy Smith struggling right now, going the wrong direction.
Looked great in practice, too. I expected big things out of the 8. Looks like he has a little damage on the right rear quarter panel. I can't tell if he's had contact, maybe. It looked like the rear bumper cover and the tail.
Hey, Steve, he is very upset with someone. He said, I have an issue, and then he talked about someone on the racetrack. So, yeah, I think they have some damage. We're going to go check on that.
Yeah, the right rear quarter is really damaged on that 8 car. You see it behind the right rear tire, looks okay, but further back towards the bumper cover, it's smashed up. So I think there's some contact right here. The 16 of Allmendinger right on his left rear. Oh, pretty hard contact. For these Xfinity cars, think about the entire right side kind of like a sail. And when the car turns left, that sail leans on like a crutch.
And now it spins and brings out the caution.
Yeah, the damage is worse. So obviously some more contact on the 8. As I was saying, that right rear quarter panel, you lean on it like a crutch, and when it gets damaged, you just don't have the grip around the corners.
So there will be a restart, and it's after 6 completed laps. This caution coming out on lap 7.
Here you go. This is the second problem he had. Just got really loose, and around the car goes. No damage as far as additional to the car, but sliding on these tires, he's flat spotted them. He'll have to come in and put a new set on.
So a tough start for the 8, Sammy Smith, one of the playoff drivers. He was the last one in on points, fought his way into the playoffs, and now race 1 and 7 laps in, he brings out the first caution. CW Sports coverage of the NASCAR Xfinity Series is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Credit One Bank, NASCAR American Express car. Here's downtown Kansas City, and we are just a little west of that in Kansas City, Kansas. Marty, the 8 has had his hands full. Did they figure out what was going on?
Well, I would say behind the wheel, Sammy Smith, I think the word livid is probably not strong enough with how mad he is at what happened with A.J. Allmendinger earlier on. And then he said from there, it just was terrible. It was so loose. So spun out there. So they're going to come down pit road, still trying to fix that right rear damage for Sammy Smith, who came in with so much speed in this race. But, yeah, you can see how damaged that right rear quarter panel is, Steve. I don't know if they can get that fixed up to where they can be competitive today. What do you think?
I think they can. I think the damage can be repaired as long as it's still attached to the car. There's some bracing underneath there. Once that breaks loose, you can never really attach it as good as new. And the most important thing is to kind of seal up all the areas. You see the gap between the quarter panel and the bumper. That's important, as well as the deck lid to the rear glass, which is what the crew member's doing with that silver roll of tape.
Those guys are working on the back of that car, and we see the lights on the top of the pace car. The Whelen caution lights are illuminated on the pace car. Whelen is the official warning lights of NASCAR, trusted to protect first responders. So a frustrated driver. At first it's with A.J. Allmendinger. Then another car, looked like Jeb Burton in the 27, was right on his back bumper, probably taking the air off of that spoiler a little bit. He got around.
See the 9 car. Brandon Jones picking the outside again. I'm with you. I think the outside is the way to go, but you got to get a great launch. Now let's go back and, we heard Sammy Smith very upset with A.J. Allmendinger. Remember, this is lap 4 of the beginning of the playoffs. So right there you see Sammy loose, and I don't know that there's any contact. I don't really see right there that there's contact. There may have been, and if there was contact, I don't blame him for being mad. Lap 4 of the beginning of the playoffs, and that's what we're doing. But it just looks like to me Sammy was loose. But, Steve, I think they can get this thing fixed. They got the spoiler fixed. If they could get that quarter panel taped up, they might be okay.
Yeah, you mentioned it, though. Down a set of tires. This is what's frustrating right here is we've been on pit road once, and now we're on pit road with the cars going down the backstretch.
Okay, go.
So the 88 right here, Connor Zilic, another big save right here. We saw one early in the race. Now look at this one. This one could have been day ending. The youngster had a big day on his first start at Watkins Glen, sat on the pole and won the race. Still slipping and sliding here at Kansas, not alone.
So his response back to his crew chief might be, I'm a little loose in 4.
Well, you don't know, because it could be, hey, I'm too tight and I have a bunch of wheel in it and the back goes around. But either way, the back of the car low on grip at least a couple times.
After the choose, the race leader is Chandler Smith. He's in the 81 on the inside. Brandon Jones on the outside as we get back under green.
The 9, a much better start this time. Pushing on the bottom, the 20 shoving the 81 into the corner. Can the 9 get back to his right rear quarter panel? I think he might have a chance this time. Just unable to stay in the throttle as much as he needs, and with that, Chandler Smith clears him.
We'll see what Almirola does. He's still on the inside there in the number 20. Custer, CW 00 there on the outside, and he's going to try to go on the high side here. He looks to the outside of the 9, but way back. They're too wide for that 3rd spot. And now he has the momentum, so it looks as though he's going to clear that 20. And Cole Custer has 3rd.
See Cole Custer trying to work the bottom of the racetrack. But that outside lane right now is just where the speed is. You're going to have to be much faster to pass on the bottom.
Riley Herbst in the 98. With his win at Vegas earlier this year, he locked himself into the playoffs.
Kyle Petty surprisingly picked the 98 to be a driver he didn't think was going to make it out of this round. I have the opposite. I have the 98 as potentially one of those drivers being able to go to the championship 4. He's impressed me. That big win in Indianapolis. I like what I've been seeing out of the 98. Top of the screen, Brandon Jones back on the attack.
And now closing the gap for that lead. It's down to about a 1/10 of a second separating the 81 and the 9.
Brandon Jones with a big run on corner exit is going to get to that left rear quarter panel. Couldn't quite make it. What does he do here? Chandler Smith kind of takes the middle of the racetrack, kind of trying to take both lanes away.
Comes the 9 with momentum. Is he going to be able to get to the inside? He doesn't. Right in his tire tracks as they enter turn 1.
Right there is where Brandon Jones is a little bit quicker.
A car length separating the top 2. Chandler Smith now to the middle of the racetrack. Jones staying about a half a lane higher.
The battle behind between the 20 of Almirola and the 19 of Gray. Almirola is really committed to the top of 1 and 2, but with this fewer laps on the tires, it seems like the bottom still has a chance to compete. You see the 20. I'm looking at the bottom left shot on your screen. Oh, that's what the top is so good for. Momentum down the backstretch. Bottom right, that's the 2 of Jesse Love, the 98 of Riley Herbst locked together.
And Herbst able to surge ahead. He has that 10th spot. So now the lead stretches out. Chandler Smith has put about 5 car lengths between himself and the 9 of Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones, the only driver in this field that has won here at Kansas in the Xfinity Series, and he's done it twice.
Taylor Gray in that 19 car, putting a lot of pressure on Eric Almirola. Taylor has really good speed right here in the middle of the corner. Finished 18th last night in the truck race.
How much does that help a driver be on this track? Obviously more than the guys around you in the Xfinity Series.
Well, I think the cars, the vehicles are completely different, but I think experience is experience, especially for a young driver with limited practice that we have today. I would race as much as I could.
Sam Mayer just in front of Austin Hill, 2 playoff drivers. And here's Hill diving to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get by Sam. "45 laps for stage number 1. And Steve, they won't have to come to pit road for fuel.
No, they can run around 60 laps on fuel, so the first and the second stage aren't a concern. The final stage will require a pit stop. 4 sets of tires in the pits, so you imagine you're going to put 1 on at the end of stage 1, the same at the end of stage 2. It gives you a couple sets to play with when you're going to want to put those on. Battle for 10th now as we see the 18 of Creed. Herbst backsliding just a little bit.
Creed slides up the racetrack, takes the position away. 0.8 of a second separating Chandler Smith and Jones. And it's Custer, Almirola, Gray, Allgaier back there in 6th. Sam Mayer is 7th. Side-by-side racing here is Creed still trying to complete the pass as Herbst worked back to the inside, but now he's got it done.
Kind of a combination of corners, Jeff, as we see now a battle of Jesse Love, the yellow car, the 88 of Connor Zilic. That's going to upset the 2. We have Corey Heim and Ryan Sieg. That's the 4 drivers there in line. Ryan Sieg in that white car at the bottom. Corey Heim to his outside.
Corey Heim won the truck race here last night. Corey driving this number 26, has the Toyota on board with him.
Right here now.
Corey driving for Sam Hunt Racing. We ran into Sam, what was a week or 2 ago, Jeff, and he said he just loves having Corey in his car. So much fun to listen to and to watch. Just so much talent.
Now he's got the outside lane.
Half a mark still with you tight.
A.J. Allmendinger in the 16, working the bottom of the racetrack.
Pretty impressive, that 16 car. The speed he was able to carry on corner entry.
Yeah, the top is actually nowhere near as dominant as I thought it would be early. Watching practice and even qualifying, the top was the preferred lane. But you see right here, the 39 able to keep up pace on the bottom. They really spread all over the entire racetrack.
See that bright yellow car? 88 of Connor Zillage. He is learning so much right now. We've seen him twice almost spin out.
Connor Zillage has dropped back to the 14th position. Ryan Sieg also one of the non-playoff drivers, just ahead of him in 13th as we ride along the NXT onboard. Cole Custer looking back at that 9 of Jones.
Inside quarter.
Custer had second. Jones trying to take it back. And now Custer with the momentum on the outside will get back out in front of the 9. Chandler Smith out front. He's led 22 laps already. Brandon Jones, the only other driver to be up front. Looking for a cable news network which respects all Americans? Then you have a new home with News Nation. See why News Nation is America's fastest growing cable news network. To find News Nation on your screen, go to joinnn.com. 17 to go in stage 1, and Chandler Smith with a 1.2 second advantage over Eric Almirola now, who has moved up to that second position. Custer back to third. Brandon Jones, Taylor Gray, all in the top 5. Then it's Sam Mayer, Allgaier, Austin Hill, Creed, and Herbst, all part of the top 10. Marty.
Rick Riley Herbst right now in the 10th position, as you just mentioned. Talking to him earlier this week, he told me, he said, listen, at the Olympic break, we were 4th in the championship standing. So for us to start as the number 8 seed, honestly, that was a massive wake-up call. So in their meetings this week at Davin Restivo and Riley Herbst, he said, we got to get our program together, and this race should be a good litmus test for us. This is our type of track. I don't want to go to Talladega needing to make up points. We'll see how Riley does for the rest of the day, Kim.
Well, Marty, I spent time with rookie Jesse Love yesterday and just asked how he's approaching his first Xfinity Series playoff run. And he said for the first round, his thought process is to not wreck. Keep the fenders on it, finish all the laps, and take what our car will give us. For the most part, he said the first round should be smooth sailing. Now, go back to that thought about taking what the car will give them. Right now, the car not giving Jesse what he needs. He came on the radio just a second ago, said, I am so tight. The car will not turn. I need help on entry and exit as Jesse Love runs in the 13th position.
And there you see the 43 of Ryan Ellis. Take a look at today's Snapchat driver update. You know, the paint scheme inspired by Snapchat's More Loves, Less Likes campaign. And their goal to bring a little more love into everyone's lives.
Ryan making his 125th Xfinity Series start this weekend, so experience behind the wheel at 34 years old.
Ryan, one of the many drivers that started racing very early. At the age of 4, he was racing quarter midgets. And it looks as though the 19 off pace. Marty, what's going on?
Yes, he has lost his cylinder a moment ago. He was battling for 4th with his teammate Eric Almirola. Now he's fallen all the way back into the, where is he, 9th position right now, and 2 seconds off the pace. So down a cylinder for the 19 of Taylor Gray.
That's going to be a frustrating long day. You can almost hear it right there. The engine going a little bit south for the 19 car.
Yeah, that is frustrating. Battle up front.
Tightening up.
Yeah, Eric Almirola the last several laps has been much faster than Chandler Smith. Now, Chandler's been in some traffic, and that's allowed him to catch him, but that's part of this racetrack, Steve. You catch lap traffic so quickly, and then they're running the preferred lane. They're running the top. So you see what Chandler's got to do. He's got to run the bottom of the racetrack. Now he gets held up big time by the guys on the outside, and that lets the 20 come with a ton of speed. Can he make it 3 wide to get by these lap guys? There he goes.
Quickly. He puts those 2 down, and now he sets his sights on that 29.
Oh.
And does he get by? He can't go by Blaine Perkins.
So that right there was, I'm surprised that was a mistake Eric Almirola made. As much experience as he has, he gets in the corner, gets in there, you know, had to turn very sharply because the guys on the outside of him, but didn't get slowed down enough to be able to stay on the bottom of the racetrack.
Eric's going to be a big asset for these Xfinity Series drivers as well as they navigate the playoffs. He's going to be in all the Xfinity Series races in a different combination of Joe Gibbs entries, but this is a guy that has 460 Cup starts, 24 of them here at Kansas. So when you talk about a lot of experience in your arena, the people that are in your meetings that help, now they're not all great. Remember, this is a track where he actually broke his back in that huge accident in 1 and 2, just reminding us of how fast this racetrack is. But Jeff, from a driver's standpoint, it's got to be nice having somebody like Eric you can just bounce things off from over the course of the day.
It's great to have a conversation with him, but it's terrible for this. Look at the pace he's got. And one of the reasons he has the pace is look at where his car is compared to Chandler. Watch the entry. Now this time the 20 car had to run a little bit lower trying to search for some clean air. But when he's been on the wall, he's been on the wall. The 81's leaving 3 or 4 feet from the wall. You see making the 81 loose right there.
And here he goes for the lead. Eric Almirola was in front of him at the stripe, and new leader in Kansas, the 20 of Eric Almirola out front. Now, how big is this for Chandler Smith as Almirola almost up against the wall?
But that's where the speed is. And that's one of the advantages in being a driver that's not a normal, a regular in the series. You can take those chances. If you get in the wall, you've got enough, you got Cup wins. They look at you and say, hey, man, it's all right. When you're a young driver and you make a mistake, you're ridiculed more. So when we see Cup drivers being successful in Xfinity, much of it has to do with not just ability, but mindset. I'm willing to take gambles. Look at him. Watch this. He's going to get right against the wall. He knows Chandler's down there. He knows when he gets to the exit, Chandler's not going to be there anymore because he's going to drive off from him. Mindset, willing to take risk, that's a major advantage.
Now, I want to remind you, at the end of each stage, there are stage points that are given, but there's also a playoff point for the stage winner. And those are the points that everybody carried into these playoffs. But that stage point won't go to someone who isn't in the playoffs, which is Eric Almirola. So that playoff point that could carry forward, which Chandler Smith could have got, Eric Almirola is going to take it away from him here, possibly with under 6 to go. As they run, you see those above the cut line again after the 3rd race. The bottom 4 in points will be eliminated.
Man, the 20 card just looks really nice. You talk about the risk, and it is a risk, but it just looks comfortable. Like he gets right up there above that top paving seam and looks like he has a lot of confidence to be able to apply the throttle on corner exit.
Now 5 laps to go and Almirola pulling away. Chandler Smith still running 2nd, 1.2 seconds back. And then you see,
oh, Sam Mayer thought he was going to go to the left of that 92, Rick. Instead, he kind of gets a little bit of a rolling pick. Look at the momentum loss to the 9.
Yeah, a little indecision there. And Dawson Cram in that 92 is the pick for Sam Mayer, and that has him checking up.
Well, look at Sam. See, much like the 20, he runs above that paving seam all the way through the corner, through its exit. And for that reason, he should have a little bit of speed down the straightaways. This is going to be an interesting battle because you mentioned how the points are awarded. The one of Sam Mayer being a playoff car, he would love to get past his teammate, that 9 of Brandon Jones. Oh, I like where the 1's at right here. A lot of speed on corner exit. We should give him a run down the backstretch. What's he do with it?
Closing in on the 9. Will there be patience? He goes to the bottom of the racetrack, but still has that momentum.
Still there.
I don't know if he's going to be able to complete a pass on the bottom, though. I think he's going to have to try to get to his right rear quarter panel.
This 43 car is holding Brandon Jones up just a little bit.
Jones in the middle of the track and drifts up the racetrack. And Sam Mayer still down toward the bottom.
All right, coming to 2 to go this next time by. So, you know, he's got about 5 sets of corners. This being the first right here. Does he go back to the top? He does. At the top of your screen, the 8 of Sammy Smith goes a lap down because of that damage earlier.
First playoff driver that is a lap down. Shane Van Gisbergen running 24th. There are 26 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, Jesse Love and A.J. Allmendinger are the other 2 playoff drivers that are not in the top 10 in position to get points at this stage in.
Mayer a little bobble there through 1 and 2, and so not able to close that gap. There's Sheldon Creed and Austin Hill used to be teammates, no longer. As it's 1 to go in the stage for Eric Almirola, he goes across the stripe. That battle for 6 continuing. You mentioned Almirola behind the wheel of the 20. He's been there and has been able to take the 22 victory lane. 5 different drivers behind the wheel of the 20 so far this year, and 4 of them have won. As we see the 18 pulling away, and a smoking issue on the front stretch, and that was the 19. So problems with Taylor Gray.
Yeah, he had reported he had lost a cylinder, had lost some engine power. You just never know what it is. Whatever it is has finally completely gone south. That'll be the end of the day for the 19. It's going to be nerve-wracking if you drive a Toyota. They've actually had more engine problems this year than I can remember in this series specifically, and another one breaks here in the playoffs.
That will end stage 1. You see the oil, that fluid on the camera there of the 26. So it is Eric Almirola winning the stage. A lot of chaos early here in the first playoff race for the Xfinity Series. CW Sports Saturday is back next week with a full day of action. First, it's ACC football as Wake Forest takes on NC State. Then it's off to Talladega as the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Those playoffs are heating up. Finally, we finish up in Corvallis as Colorado State will face Oregon State. CW Sports Saturday, that's next week, starting at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, only on the CW. And there's the 8 of Sammy Smith on pit road, continuing to do work to that right rear quarter panel. Marty.
Yeah, Rick, I talked to Mike Bumgardner, and he said it's actually hurt pretty bad, Steve, so they're going to try and do the best they can here with damage. Already went down a lap, so there's really nothing for them to lose by coming down pit road when pit road is closed, because they have some significant repairs ahead of them, clearly, if they want to be competitive. And you see that piece that they fashioned, really, while that green flag run was going on, they could just fasten on there with pop rivets, which is what they're doing right now.
Yeah, they're going to try to make it as good as new, but, you know, it's going to be a difficult task. You see some...
Get that screwed on there.
Steve, what's the ruling on that? I know you're not allowed to add parts.
You can't add parts and pieces, so most of it should be tape. The only exception would be if it's the tail piece. You must run a tail, so you can replace parts of the tail and the deck lid because they're required. If the quarter panel itself was missing, you would just be out of luck because that's not a required part, but the tail is required. Unlike last week at Bristol where the 7 was running around without a tail because it was a short track, here at the high-speed tracks you have to have a tail, so for that reason they'll let you kind of replace that component.
And Kim, what about Sam Mayer in the 1?
Yeah, as we look at him, he runs in the 5th position. That's where he started, so he's been able to hold his starting position, but he talked about how sensitive his car is up in the rubber, mostly loose, so they will look to tighten him up when they get that first pit stop. But you guys will like this in the booth. I asked him kind of what's his confidence level headed into the playoffs. They're looking at it as a reset, and he said what we have to do in this first round is play the equivalent of par golf, is what he said they need to do on track.
That's not easy, by the way. I'm just going to, speaking from experience, enjoying this race from Kansas.
Not the race to get into a tussle with Cole Custer.
No.
I don't know. The Cole Custer mustache was intimidating enough.
He's got some muscle behind him. So now the crews are ready to take on this first break that we will see most of the cars make their way onto pit road. This is the lead lap cars as they come on to progressive pit road. And Marty.
Brandon Jones finished 4th in the stage, Rick. He said it started way too free, and you saw him lose those spots, but he said actually got better the longer they ran. Eric Almirola with the stage win, and you can just hear the veteran presence in his voice. He said the car was way too free, but let's just put 4 tires on it and see where the track goes, Kim.
As you look at the bottom left of your screen, the 00 of Cole Custer, he said, I am on top of the racetrack. I'm lacking overall grip. Way too free. You see the chassis adjustment. They'll tighten him up a bit with 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. Also a chassis adjustment. Bottom right, 81 of Chandler Smith. He was complaining just way too tight. He needed more front turn, but he said, do not sacrifice my rear lateral. He said, I could not run the fence like the 20 could because I was so tight. As we look at the race off pit road, great pit stop by Cole Custer and his crew.
Yep. Cole Custer wins the race off progressive pit road, gaining 5 spots for that 21 crew. They have been outstanding all season long. We've got the restart when we come back. CW Sports coverage of the NASCAR Xfinity Series is brought to you by Snapchat. Less likes, more love, more Snapchat. Progressive, save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. And by Toyota. Let's go places. So the way stage one ended, and you see the 16 on pit road now and taking a little bit longer stop here, they had an issue.
Well, he was penalized during those pit stops. He had a penalty, uncontrolled tire, so they came down pit road to make some adjustments.
It's going to change a lot of things for this restart. And Marty, more issues for the 16?
So, maybe sometimes a penalty can help you out, right, Rick? So see what they did on this stop. AJ just saying, I have absolutely no grip on the racetrack. So they made the call. Alex Young said, hey, let's push a spring rubber in the left rear. We have it in there. We can push it in if you want. And AJ said, whatever you want. I just need help kind of everywhere.
So that's a longer stop. The reason they did it now, because Jeff pointed out they're under penalty. They're going to start at the tail of the field because of the other issues. So I won't say it's an advantage, but you have to continue to crew chief, right? So if you've lost your track position, come in, take the left rear tire off, put that spring rubber in, which will increase the spring rate of the left rear, adding some dynamic wedge, kind of basically trying to push that left rear tire into the racetrack to add some grip. The 9 back down pit road. This is interesting. Oh, looks like they're going to put some lug nuts. Looks like 2 lug nuts on the right front. So I'm okay with left side lug nuts because it's a very much a timing thing. You're tightening the wheel while they're dropping the jack. I have no patience for right side lug nuts as a crew chief. I used to lose my mind because you don't leave the right side until you have lug nuts on, right? Adam Wall right here doing the right thing, bringing his team down. Now, I'm not saying that the task is easy. It's very difficult to be on a pit crew. It is very difficult. But you still have to do the job. Leaving before the job's done, leaving the right side early just doesn't help the situation.
As they run, you see on the left side of your screen, Cole Custer goes to the top of this list because he's leading the race. There's a Riley Herbst fan. That puts Shane Van Gisbergen below that cut line. Parker Kligerman down there as well.
And remember, Chandler Smith and Eric Almirola came down pit road first and second. They came out 5th and 6th. So not the pit stops they were looking for. Austin Hill came out in second. That is the best pit crew in the Xfinity Series, period. And that is a major advantage because with the single lug nut in Cup, reliable, fast pit stops in Xfinity have become more difficult because Xfinity teams typically use Cup teams, and it's a challenge to go from changing 1 single lug nut on Sundays to 5 on Saturdays. And we see a lot of inconsistent pit stops during the Xfinity races.
So the field 2 by 2 once again as we get ready for the start of stage 2. Cole Custer on the outside in the 00. Austin Hill on the inside in the 21. And stage 2 is underway. Cole Custer. This is the only racetrack that he does not have a top 10 finish on. They're 3 wide for position behind him. Custer surging out front. Sam Mayer takes second. Austin Hill trying to take third. Chandler Smith fighting on the outside in the 81. Sheldon Creed in the 18 to the inside of the 98 of Riley Herbst. And Daniel Dye had a little issue here on the restart. He's in the 10. See right on the white line. Full contact there.
Wow. What a save. This racetrack, everybody fans out trying to make positions on restarts. And Daniel saw the 5 of Alfredo coming and went down there to block him and almost got himself wrecked.
Winner of stage 1. Eric Almirola trying to work his way back up toward the front. There's Corey Heim in the 26 with the Toyota on board. Hearing him have to get out of the gas there.
All of the drivers reading through the radios, you just talk about the overall lack of grip. You know, not necessarily a handling situation as loose or tight, just very low grip. As you see the 7 dive under the 18, that's when you could be very vulnerable. You get down underneath the car on the outside, and it's easy to spin your car out.
A little surprised about the 7-car pace. You know, we finished 8th in that first stage. But in 8th position now, you would expect that team to be toward the front.
Fight for second between the 81 of Chandler Smith, and that fight ends quickly as he takes the position away from Sam Mayer. We'll see if that momentum from the high line will help Mayer in the 1 take the spot back as they go down the backstretch. And Mayer looks to the inside now of Chandler Smith.
Man, that was a good corner. That 81's impressive. To be able to enter the middle of the racetrack and just turn down to the bottom in the middle of the corner tells me your car is doing what you want it to do. As we see the 20, that black car, yellow numbers on the roof of Eric Almirola, trying to get to the outside of the 7. He's going to be able to do it right here in the middle of the corner. Almost just gasses up to take the position, not allowing the 7 to have all the real estate on corner exit.
Yeah, Eric in that 20, he's been willing to go to the outside very quickly after restarts. Doing it again this run.
And the 7 of Allgaier is on the inside. Doesn't have as much racetrack there, Marty.
Allgaier, I agree with you guys. Kind of surprised by the pace of that car in stage 1. He said, I'm just in a 4-wheel drift on corner exit. But he said, I cannot go anywhere near the fence. Now, Justin Allgaier normally doesn't love to run the fence, Jeff, but he's willing to go out there. He said, I just cannot do that today. So when he can't run the fence at Kansas, how much of a detriment is that? That's what we're seeing here for Justin Allgaier.
Early in the runs, Marty, it's not that bad. But as you get later in the runs, it really is an advantage to be able to run the outside right against the wall. But you could see how much pace he had on the 20 right there when the 20 caught the 18. So here it is again. So running the bottom, you just cannot carry the pace from the center of the corner off. You just get beaten down the straightaway so badly. There, the 7 just committed to running the top. Hey, I know I got to run there. What happens if I try it?
Now he gets to the door of the 20 of Almirola. And that's for that 7th position. Creed running 6th up against the wall, but look at this pass. He's not going to slide all the way up in front of Creed, and that will lose the position now to the 18 once again, and the 20.
The 20 of Almirola won that first stage as he slides up. A pit stop is what got the 20 back here. I mean, you look at the comparison between the 00 and the 20. Everything's pretty similar except for this middle column right here. You look at that, 13.8 versus 18.0. So over 4 seconds lost in the pit box for the 20, and now he's mired back in traffic.
Still 28 laps to go in stage 2. Again, stage 2, 45 laps, just like stage 1 was, but then the final stage is 110 laps.
That's when not being able to run the top is really going to hurt the 7. When you get in that final stage and you have to run 50 laps or so on a set of tires, I just think the top is almost a requirement.
How about that bright yellow car? All right, first let's look at this. Almirola, a little wave. Thanks for working with me. Almirola, we talked about the advantage of being a not full-time Xfinity driver. One of the disadvantages is you don't want to get into a situation where you end up with a wreck with a guy in the playoffs, right? And so you race aggressively, but at the same time, you try to be smart. You try to respect them. See the 45 car with a problem.
Yeah, and that's Brad Perez.
End of the backstretch, too.
Yeah.
I don't believe that 45 is coming back around.
Let's see if he gets to the entrance to pit road.
He's got a ways to go.
The one thing, if a caution does come out, it would be great for Sammy Smith, and there it is. Sammy Smith was in position for the free pass. The caution coming out will give him that lap back, and he'll be back on the lead lap. So Cole Custer will give up the 7/10 of a second lead that he had over Chandler Smith. And he shut the car off. Even though they have enough fuel, they're still going to save fuel.
Save it. It also cools the engine dramatically by cycling it. You basically shut the car off. The water stalls in the radiator. You coast around. That water overcools, and you cycle it back into the engine. Do that a few times. You can get the overall temperature of the engine down. Helps for the restart. Every quarter horsepower matters. Engine guys love all that attention to the temperatures.
So with only 25 laps to go in this stage, it'll be interesting to see if somebody gambles here. Jesse Love and Allmendinger, do they need to put some tires on here, see if they can go get some stage points, or even does the leader pit?
Brad Perez brings out the caution. This was, by the way, his first start on a 1.5 mile racetrack.
Back at Kansas as stops underway under caution. You see that two of Jesse Love, one of the playoff drivers, they elected to come down, whereas the other playoff drivers did not. That's because he needs major help with his car. He said entry into 3 is too free, but overall the car just builds way too tight. They're going to take a round in the left rear and then pull out Packer while they're on this stop too. He also said he was hitting the splitter in 1 and 2 for Jesse Love.
So for Jesse Love, 4 sets of tires in the pits. They're going to use their second set here, and just the theory is that with most cars not changing tires, the fresher tires have absolutely more grip on a very slick racetrack. Drive up here and finish the top 3 or 4 of the stage. The 97, I don't think they were wanting to use a set of tires. They're just continuing to work on this car for SVG. He was on the lead lap, inside the top 25 or 26.
What were they looking at on the right rear there, Steve?
Well, I see some scrapes above the right rear. Either that or maybe they're making a chassis adjustment. Pretty hard to tell from up here, Marty.
Chassis adjustment, Steve, just trying to take a big swing at it here for Shane Van Gisbergen, who said, I'm just so loose, I'm out of control. And to echo what you guys are saying, every driver is talking about how there is an absolute lack of grip here at Kansas today, getting warmer as the race goes on. So I guess, Jeff, you would think that grip would continue to fall away as the race goes on?
Well, certainly the hotter the racetrack gets and the more rubber that gets put in the racetrack can make the track much more slick. And the wind, that's another factor too. The wind's been whipping around here today. That completely changes the way your car drives as well.
Penalty for the 97. They had too many men over the wall there. They're working on the car. Guys, we're going to take another look at the Snapchat driver update with Ryan Ellis and that paint scheme. Fun, colorful composition of the paint scheme. Again, honoring the importance of connection and bringing fans, friends, and communities together, much like the sport of NASCAR does.
Butterflies, horses. What else we got on that?
A lot of fun and love. Ryan Ellis, a third-generation driver. Getting ready for the green flag. There'll be 21 laps remaining in stage 2. Cole Custer on the outside, and Sam Mayer will start on the inside. Chandler Smith will be behind Cole Custer, and that puts Riley Herbst behind Sam Mayer.
It's going to be very interesting to see the two-car of love all the way back there at 25th. Can he use those new tires?
Back into the restart zone, and back up through the gears they go. Fanning out 3 wide again. Connor Zilich in the 88 with a pretty good restart, but now drifting up the racetrack.
Oh, trouble!
And around goes the 7, Allgaier. He's going to make contact with the inside wall, and hard contact. Allgaier coming into this first race of the playoffs as the #1 seed.
Just bring it right to us.
We've talked about this track, Rick. It is a disruptor in the playoffs. It just creates havoc. Last week, went in with a huge lead in the regular season champ, had an awful night, and the bad luck continues for the 7.
Right here, the 7 goes to turn underneath the 18. 18 was having trouble, and just around the 7 goes, and that looks harmless, but that contact with the inside wall is not.
It looks to me like the 18 and the 7 were both basically wrecking. Both ran out of real estate, and the 7 had to keep turning the wheel left and spins out. I think he gets aero tight. There's a car on his left side, Jeff, that I think drives the 7 up the racetrack, not on purpose, but where the 88 is, I think it kind of drives the 7 up the racetrack.
Yeah, watch the 88, the bright yellow car on the bottom. Right there, he loses the bottom. That kind of stacked him up behind, and then the 18 of Creed just gets loose.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Zilich, while it did affect the whole thing, I don't think he's a cause of any of it. I think it's the 18 just getting loose, which then gets the 7 to check up. He's in a really tough spot right here.
That's right. It's just simply aggressive restarts and a little bit of contact, and as soon as that gets made, it shoves the left front of the 7 down to the inside, and there it is, big damage. This racetrack, and everybody talks about just want to get out of the first round. It's easier said than done because of things like this at this racetrack. It's just aggressive restarts.
But, you know, I'll add that this is not the speed we expected out of the 7. While you can't prevent wrecks or guarantee avoiding wrecks, they happen less from 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. When you get back there, 8th, 9th, 10th, you're stacked up. I mean, if you have restarts like that enough, Marty, eventually you're going to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, and before that, under the last caution, Justin Allgaier said, I have so little grip, it feels like I'm on a different tire compound compared to everybody else. You know, oddly enough, this team should have some practice with this because last week it was pretty similar damage. That was on the right front last week at Bristol. This time it's on the left front coming down pit road. Jim Pullman said, I'm not sure we can fix it. And unlike last week, Steve, they don't seem to be in a hurry. They let the field go by. Justin Allgaier has already gone down a lap here sitting on pit road. They're going to really focus on this left front damage, trying to get it fixed, and we'll see if they can indeed get it fixed, but already a lap down, and possibly they can't go 2 laps down, right, Steve? So Jim Pullman's going to have to pull the trigger and send his driver around here in a moment.
Oh, looking at the damage of that, I don't think they're worried about 2 laps or 3 laps or 4 laps. I think they're worried about re-entering the race. Minimum speed here at Kansas is going to be nowhere near as easy to reach as it is a track like Bristol. I mean, I'm wondering if this 7 car is going to make any more laps today up to speed enough to remain in the race.
So it has been a tough start to the playoffs, and even before the playoffs for the 7 of Justin Allgaier. CW Game Night starts Thursday, October 3rd, first at 8 p.m. Eastern. Raymond Simone hosts the classic crossword game Scrabble, where I'll work on my spelling. And then that's followed by Trivial Pursuit at 9 p.m., hosted by LeVar Burton. It's Game Night, and it's only on the CW. Once again, caution comes out, and the Whelen caution lights are on. Whelen, again, the official warning lights of NASCAR, trusted to protect first responders.
I'm not going to admit this to my children, but I may or may not read a lot of the Trivial Pursuit cards just so I have a chance of keeping up with them when we play the game. I even have Trivial Pursuit coasters, which is good because it starts, it's like, I won't say it's useless information, but it's information I definitely didn't retain from school, so I need a little bit of heads up.
I go back to Cheers and I think of Cliff Clavin and all the information that he always gave us. I thought that would definitely be good in Trivial Pursuit.
It's hard to believe I was more the norm.
You Norm!
I was more the norm. Not a lot of useful information. Everybody happy to see me. Yeah, I wasn't really the Cliff Clavin of the group.
Understand. So already, and again, a little over halfway through the second stage, and these playoff drivers have had issues. The 8 of Sammy Smith.
That's right. Sammy Smith damage to the right rear quarter panel. They've been on pit road multiple times trying to get it fixed up.
And then the 16 of A.J. Allmendinger, right front tire gets away. That's a penalty. Came in a couple times. Then Allgaier, big damage to the left front of the 7. He's back on the racetrack. We'll see if he can find minimum speed and get off this crash clock.
So the 7 of Allgaier will have to make minimum speed.
Nice job of repairs. It looks good. It'll all be if there's enough clearance or if the car is going to hit the ground when they try to run at speed.
Getting ready for the restart. It will be 15 laps remaining in stage 2. Mayer a little sideways there. And look at him fan out behind him. Three wide. Mayer on the bottom of the racetrack. He'll hold the lead, but for how long? Here comes Eric Almirola in the 20. Almirola to the inside of Cole Custer. And the 7.
Yeah, flat left front, hit the wall very hard going into turn 3, trying to make minimum speed. I believe
no brakes, just FYI.
Yeah, no brakes. Damage is done. This will be the end of the day for the 7 cards. We see the battle on the top continue.
That 88 of Zillage, that yellow car, he came out of that in 5th place. We saw him early in the race struggling on restarts. Did a great job that time. Got real aggressive. Picked some spots up.
Now running the middle of the racetrack. That's Austin Hill in the 21. Tucked in behind him. Connor Zillage running 5th. Mayer, Custer, Almirola, Chandler Smith, and Zillage the top 5. Take a look at what happened to the 7. Steve, you mentioned it.
Yeah, obviously a ton of damage. May you have a tire go down. It was hard to tell. Yeah, left front goes down. Flat left front straight into the wall. That's a hard hit.
You mentioned it, Steve. You're better off staying on pit road and getting it fixed right than you are worrying about getting out there and losing more laps because of those things like that.
More than likely, that's going to put Allgaier's finishing position in 36th, which will be 1 point. Allgaier did gain 3 points in stage 1. So a total of 4 points for the day. Not very good.
You see the 2 car, that red and white car. Remember, he stopped and put tires on. 12 to go in this stage.
Jesse Love trying to get all of the good out of these good years.
Yeah, the problem is the goody's gone. I mean, it's a slight advantage, but if the tires were an advantage, he should have easily been able to drive by the 48 right on the bottom. He couldn't do it. The 48 battles back on the outside. So it's kind of worst case scenario. Now you've used up a set of tires, and I'm not sure you've gained a whole lot for it.
Love running 13th, and again, the top 10 at the end of stage 2 will all get points, stage points.
Almirola trying to recover from that slow pit stop at the end of stage 1. He won stage 1. Can he battle back and go and win stage 2? Trying to run down Sam Mayer out there leading. I like this 20 car. I mean, right here. Look how it just accelerates through the middle of the corner.
20 right up against the wall there. Right along with Cole Custer. Under 10 laps to go, and Cole Custer trying to close the gap on Almirola. Mayer with the 7/10 of a second advantage over the 20.
.33.29, chasing a 33.32.
Information of lap times. Remember, unlike the Cup cars, they don't have digital dashes, so lap time information has to be reported over the radio, conveyed to the driver. Custer says, I don't need a lap time to know I'm better than the 20. He's getting bigger in my windshield. Doing it in the lane lower as well. Pretty impressed with this 0-0.
You hear him go to the throttle, then he has to come back out of it. Car didn't make enough grip to stay in it. While this battle's going on, the one of Sam Mayer is driving away from him.
Custer using the bottom of the racetrack, but then you see the momentum of that high line for Almirola as it pulls away on the front stretch. Under 7 laps to go now in stage 2.
The 81 has moved to the fence as well. Still same gap front and rear.
81's behind him. He's running 4th right now.
81 all the way to the bottom in 3 and 4. Still 3 back. Same gap front and rear again.
All that information to Cole is to really let Cole manage the offense versus defense, right, Jeff? So now Cole, obviously he knows what he's working on with the 20, but the information of the 81 will allow Cole not to be surprised and get the 81 right around his quarter panel.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But lets him just focus on what's ahead of him. And it takes a lot of trust in your spotter to completely believe in him. Still need to check it to make sure.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th on the screen right there.
It's been really documented. The 2-car came and put on a set of tires. The gamble was to score points. Well, the 39 of Ryan Sega's 11th. Matt DiBenedetto 10th. Jones 9th. Creed 8th. The 2-car definitely has not gone as high as they had hoped he would on those new tires, but to not score any points at the end of this stage would be a huge blow to the 2-car. See if he can pull it off here with only 4 laps to go, 5 laps to go, just a short run left.
Yeah, what's hurt him is that car in front of him is running where he wants to be. So you see when they drive down here in the corner, the car in front is kind of taking the air away from him. He needs clean air to make this pass on the bottom. Not going to be able to make it happen.
Didn't happen there. He's got about 3 laps, still 3.5 laps to see if he can get by the 39, and he's got to get by the 38 as well. Be able to score a point at the end of the stage. Sam Mayer said the sport, it's very humbling, especially when you're an 18-year-old knucklehead like himself. He said you learn quick. That's one of the things that he's trying to do, is learn every time he gets behind the wheel. See if he can get better, because now he has a championship out in front of him. But right behind him, he's got a hard charging number 20 of Eric Almirola. 2 laps to go, and Almirola is going to get there.
Watch the difference on corner exit. See right here, Almirola puts it right on the boards, and he stays there. See, the 1 turns down. That gives Almirola a little bit of clean air.
Almirola about a half a lap lower, now a lane lower, excuse me. And now he drifts back up just behind the one more time around for stage 2.
Great adjustment by Sam Mayer, getting all the way against the fence.
Now he just has to shut the exit of 2 off, because I think he can beat him back to the line off 4. He just needs to stay right there, kind of shut that air off. I think he's okay now.
Here comes Almirola. Dives to the bottom of the racetrack. The final time through 3 and 4 for this stage.
Protect your right rear.
He drifts up. He's not going to have enough. Sam Mayer is going to win stage 2. Second stage win of 2024. The 98 goes around. Did he have some help from the 21?
Oh, there was definite contact. I couldn't tell who changed lanes and who's at fault, but there was definite contact between the 21 and the 98.
And that cost him stage points.
The 98 was kind of middle of the racetrack. The 21 was running the bottom. Let's take a look on corner exit. The 18's coming. I think the 98 doesn't go up to leave a lane for the 18. No,
he was sliding.
Yeah.
Even as the 21 got to the back bumper. Herbst was loose. He slides through the grass and doesn't gain any stage points. Stage 2 is complete now, and it was Mayer who was able to win Stage 2. Almirola won Stage 1. The end of Stage 2, very interesting for the 98 here.
98, yeah, go.
Herbst gets loose, but when he gets loose, then the 21 of Hill still coming up the racetrack and makes contact into the left rear quarter panel and sends the 98 around.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it any other way than the 21 gets the 98, right? I don't know if he means to hit him, but he's trying to use the corner exit, obviously trying to get up the hill, trying to make sure the 18 doesn't get to his right rear quarter panel. That probably cost him another position and either misjudged it or thought he was clear, but either way, he hits the 98, the 98 goes around. See, I think the 21 is thinking the 18 is coming with momentum, so he tries to get in between the two of them. Let's hear what Herbst has to say.
Trying to go find the 21 car. We don't need a penalty. We're still in the lead lap. We can get past the pit stop here and gain spots. We're starting Stage 3. Trying to go find.
And let's go back to Progressive Pit Road and Marty.
Yeah, Rick, Riley Herbst not very happy with Austin Hill right now. First and second in the 2 stages for Eric Almirola, and they asked him how the car was. He said, honestly, it was a bunch of short runs. I wouldn't do much. And his quote at the very end, I have what I need, Kim.
As you see top right, that's Sam Mayer in the 1 car. They told him the 20 of Eric Almirola was beating you center exit because he was on the board. Sam said, I'm too free through the middle to do what the 20 did. I'm happy with it. No adjustments for the 1. You see bottom left 00 Cole Custer. He just said, I was way too tight around the wall. In fact, too tight everywhere. They'll make a track bar adjustment, taste fresh Goodyears. And then Chandler Smith finishing up his stop on your bottom right. Chandler was just saying that he fired up a little free on entry, but built pretty good. Needs better drive off as they had a really good pit stop for the 81.
There is the race off Progressive Pit Road. Chandler Smith gaining 3 spots. So does Sheldon Creed. A couple of guys losing them we wouldn't expect.
Back at Kansas Speedway, about to start Stage 3 here for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. It will start without the #1 seed in the playoffs, Justin Allgaier. Tell us what happened and walk us through the accident when your damage happened.
I wish I could tell you, Marty. You know, we got that restart there, and we went to the top. I thought we were going to be in great shape, and the inside row, I think they got 2 or 3 wide there, and I still thought the outside row was going to be the right choice, and Sheldon kind of got checked up, and we lifted a couple times, and you can just see from the momentum. I mean, it's just really weird. I don't know if just the being behind him was just making him that loose or what, but then once we got to corner exit, it took off on me. And from there, I mean, I got to figure out how to not hit the inside wall in that situation. You know, it seemed like it slid forever, and it was super frustrating. But proud of our team, proud of the effort, everybody at Junior Motorsports, everybody on this Brent Professional Ride, Coach Camaro. I don't know that I've had a week of a stretch of races that have been like these last 3 or 4 weeks, and we're not out of it by any stretch. You know, obviously that's why you do all the work in the regular season to get the bonus points that you can. But we got a long road for the next 2 weeks, and I got the team that can do it. We just got to go have some luck on our side.
We'll see what happens with Justin Allgaier and his race team heading to Talladega next week. Out early here at Kansas, Rick.
Yeah, 4th straight accident for the driver of the 7 and Justin Allgaier. And I know a lot of race fans and us at the CW here are thinking about all of those that have been affected by Hurricane Helene. If you can help, if you'd like to help, you can make a donation. You can go to redcross.org or text Helene to 90999. So many people in Georgia, the Carolinas, East Tennessee, all affected by that storm that went through. And Marty, I know even officials here in NASCAR live in that area and are ready to help out once again.
Yeah, Rick, I want to introduce everyone to Brad Ball, affectionately known as Big Fella among the NASCAR official community, working his normal spot at pit entry right there. And he is a retired police officer in Newport, Tennessee. And I got to talk to Brad earlier today. So when he gets back home on Monday morning after working the Cup race tomorrow, he's going to go back and he's going to work with the police force. And I said, what are you going to do, Brad? And he said, I'm going to do whatever I can do to help out my neighbors, my family, my friends. And that is what Newport, Tennessee looks like today after the dam broke yesterday. He said he's talked to lots of friends and family. Fortunately, his family is all safe. His house is safe. But I asked him, how long are you going to do it? He said, whatever it takes. I'll work every day. And when I have to come to the track, I'll come to the track next weekend at Talladega. And then Monday after Talladega, I'll be back there. I'll stay months if I have to. That's the dedication it's going to take for everyone to get out of this. And certainly the NASCAR community affected very much as well, Rick, with North Carolina being in the middle of this also. So our thoughts and prayers for everyone, especially those in Newport, Tennessee.
So many people affected. As we get ready for the restart now, Chandler Smith in the 81 will be on the outside of that 00 of Cole Custer. Sheldon Creed on the outside of row 2. Green flag's back in the air. And a pretty good push from Sheldon Creed, making that 81 surge out in front of the field. Here comes the 00 of Cole Custer once again. He's up to second. And how about Connor Zilic in that yellow 88? He's in third.
This great battle in the front. Remember, Eric Almirola was at the front of this pack when those cautions started. He had a bad pit stop, restarted mid-20.
4 wide back here for position. So many options here at Kansas, all over the racetrack.
We just heard from Justin Allgaier just how quickly it went away for him, and you can only imagine at 48 of Parker Kligerman right in the center of the hornet's nest, the decisions he's having to make and all the different aero situations his car gets put in.
He had a bad pit stop as well. Lost 10 spots during that caution.
With more on the 48 issues, Kim.
Yeah, it was a slow pit stop, but it wasn't necessarily a bad pit stop, meaning there were no mistakes made by the crew. I checked in with crew chief Patrick Donahue. They had some wholesale changes they needed to make to the car, just way too tight. In fact, plowing tight. Parker could not do what he wanted. So after the stop, Patrick Donahue got on the radio, told Parker, we got everything done we wanted to. Parker said, I got it. I'm going to make up the spots. And Patrick responded, you can do it. So they're trying to cheer on their driver, but no mistakes on that pit stop, just some kitchen sink that was thrown at the 48 car.
And in that same vein, the 20 of Eric Almirola, they had a pit gun that broke And so Almirola had to come back to pit road, and that is why he restarted outside the top 15.
He's going to be scared to pit the rest of the day. Twice down pit road, comes in either first or second, comes out outside the top 5, this time outside the top 10.
And for 6th, Ryan Sieg in the 39, Brandon Jones in the 9. Again, Brandon Jones won the pole for today's race earlier today. Jones running 6th, Sieg trying to take that spot away. You saw Sam Mayer in the picture there just behind this group. First race of the playoffs, 12 playoff drivers starting this race with the hope of a championship. And already Allgaier is out. Sammy Smith had an issue. Half of the field of playoff drivers have had something happen to them already in this race as we've just passed the halfway point.
Yeah, with 97 to go this time by, everyone in the field's going to have to pit at least one more time for fuel. They have 2 sets of tires, or most have 2 sets of tires left, so depending on the number of yellows, strategy could come into play.
Steve, are you seeing a big difference in those tires? Would you hold a set back for a late caution, and would it pay off?
Well, I think the field is going to hold a set back, which is why you're going to need them. We saw the 2 of Jesse Love try to put that set on, and there's just nowhere to go, right? You can't use the tires well enough. Plus, I don't think the 2 has the best car, as he's being attacked right here from the 11 of Josh Williams, the 31 of Parker Etzlaff right behind him. But I think, you know, if there's a caution with 15 or 20 to go and the field puts on tires and you don't, it'd be hard to hold them off. The 20 of Almirola doing a nice job recovering, picking off cars.
He's back up to 13th.
He is so fast, but you cannot keep giving up track position during pit stops. So, you know, you get to the point where you get so far back you can't make it up.
Remember, as they came to the end of stage 2, the 21 and 98 were racing side by side. Take another look. This is a replay. Herbst coming off of pit road out of his stall, then swerves into the 21's pit stall there just to let them know. Here was the radio from Austin Hill's communication.
I know that it doesn't help, but go tell them sorry. I'm sitting there watching the 18. I thought I was clear of the 98. That's 100% on me.
So he's talking about the 18 who was coming off the top, trying to get up in front of them, and I think, you know, it's pretty accurate. It doesn't help. And Herbst isn't going to be very interested in his apology, but you could hear he definitely takes credit for it.
Well, if the 98 gets to him later in this race, it would be wise to just let him go. Right? It's not, you do not want to contest that spot to a guy that's already mad at you. One spot's not worth it for what he could cost you. So if Riley is able to get back up there, I think Austin could use some judgment and just let him go. Don't put up a fight.
Every position is a point, and right now Riley Herbst is running in the 16th spot, but he's 1 point behind Allmendinger as far as at that cut line.
And you know, there wasn't any obvious damage on the 98, but you never know sliding through the grass. You know, if it messes the splitter up or moves the side skirts. I don't think it takes a winning car completely, you know, out of the race to go laps down, but if it knocks a 10th of a second out of your car, and, you know, and as competitive as this field is, it all adds up.
See, with the change.
Stuck in the back, you're even. At your door.
So he clears Parker Kligerman, and even with the extended stop, Parker Kligerman's car is still not doing what he needs it to do.
Kligerman trying to fight back now on the outside. Herbst diving to the bottom of the racetrack. Kligerman able to stay on the gas, and he'll stay in front of that 98, but everyone still chases Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith out in front of the field here at Kansas. And he has already led 57 laps. We're going to take a look at the Xfinity fastest lap, and it was turned on lap 99 by Chandler Smith. Over 171 miles an hour average around this mile and a half. Chandler Smith definitely as fast as Xfinity Internet.
Second, the 00 of Cole Custer. The defending series champ enters the playoffs. Big momentum off his win a week ago at Bristol, and trying to have a quiet day. While a win here would be amazing because it's automatic advancement, doing what he needs to do, right? He scored points, actually finishing third in both the first and the second stage for 16 of those such valuable stage points. Currently puts him 45 above the cut line. I think he would love to finish a race off in that position.
Yeah, and how about behind him, this 88 car, Connor Zillage. We saw him early in the race trying to figure out this Xfinity car. This is his second start in the Xfinity series, and all sorts of traffic. These things are hard to drive, and sideways with a big save right here. Look how far around that car is. That could have taken out a lot of cars, and then even a little bit later, still sideways. But he came through that, didn't wreck the car, got the car driving the way he wants to, and now sitting here running third. Remember, he has a total of 2 Xfinity starts, this being the second one. In his first one, he sat on the pole and won the race at Watkins Glen. A lot of people in this sport think that Connor Zillage at 18 years old is the future. He's won in everything that he's done, and now he is trying the Xfinity series.
Let's do a playoff through the field, and right behind Connor Zillage is Sheldon Creed. We'll start with you, Marty.
Sitting in the 4th position. When I talked to Sheldon earlier this week, I said, what's the goal for round 1? He said, honestly, my round 1 last year was terrible. I know it needs to be much better this year. And so far, it's been kind of a grinded out day for Sheldon Creed. The car has not been fantastic. He's kind of complained about the handling on every run, but on every pit stop, Sam McCauley has slowly made it better. And here he sits in 4th.
And in 5th, Austin Hill. And, you know, coming into Kansas Speedway, looking at his stats, he's got 11 top 10s in the last 12 races on mile-and-a-halfs. And he told me he feels like people have overlooked their mile-and-a-half program. He thinks that's their team's biggest strength next to their super speedway program. And I also asked him kind of what's his mentality here and what has he learned after the playoff runs he's been in before. And he said we have to be there at the end is what the biggest thing he's learned is. And he said during this run they fired up just a little bit loose, but it's already starting to trend tight. That's Austin Hill in the 5th position. As we jump down to our next playoff driver, Sam Mayer in the 8th position. Sam was so optimistic when I talked to him yesterday, and that's because he feels like this is anyone in the field's championship to win or lose. He said there's not a clear-cut favorite, and that favors them because they did not have a good summer stretch. And in terms of what he's learned, he said you got to be more locked in and methodical about every single lap in the playoffs. You cannot get lazy. Marty, right now you just said it fired up a little free on this run.
Really first time all day. A.J. Allmendinger's been in the top 10, Kim. He said it fired off much better. But here's a quote from the Dinger. He said, I am literally turning right all the way through the corner. And yes, all these corners turn left. That's how loose A.J. Allmendinger is. But I go back to what he told me earlier this week. He said, listen, if we can finish top 6 at Kansas, I'll feel much better about our situation going to Talladega. Not quite there yet, but in the top 10, Kim.
And as we look at Parker Kligerman currently running in the 13th position, we talked about that long stop during the previous caution. They did so much to that race car. Springs, rubbers, chassis adjustments, hopefully getting it to a better position handling-wise because it was just way too tight the first half of this race. And for this team, the goal at the beginning of the year was to make the playoffs. Well, they got a check next to that goal. And then the next goal, he said, is to make the championship four. That would feel like putting a bow on his full-time career. Because remember, Marty, a couple weeks ago, Parker announced that he will not pursue full-time racing after the 2024 season.
And you got to give some credit to Davin Restivo, the crew chief for Riley Herbst in the 16 now in the wall, I'm hearing, Rick.
Actually, it was 26 of Corey Heim. Yeah, and it might have been at the hands of Parker Kligerman because he was right behind him as Heim was checking up there and got into the wall. They were running 11th, no caution.
Well, they're all stacked up on top of each other right here. The 98 behind the 48, 48 behind the 26, 26 of Heim, just very loose. No contact. loose already, and then the positioning of the 48 car to the 26 takes air off the spoiler, and around he goes.
And we stay green even after this. Look at the wheel movement that Corey Heim had to make there.
When you can hear the tires squealing from in the car, that's loose.
Yeah.
I'm going to take your word on it.
Yeah.
I don't want to ride on board.
And Eric Almirola into the wall also in that 20.
Yeah, he's trying to find that last 5% to make up for that slower pit stop. He's inside the top 10. And I think he knows he has a car that can win the race, and that's why you're starting to see him push. 26, after that big slide, has come to the attention of his pit crew. We'll get him 4 tires. Well, 76 to go. I expect pit stops with about 55 to go. I will say Chandler Smith, his mirror is getting a little bit bigger with the 00 of Cole Custer. Some of it was due to some lap traffic. I thought the 81 didn't get through lap traffic quite as well as the 00, but you have this 92 in between them, and that's what happens, right? The 00 runs down kind of right behind the 92.
Dawson Cram in the 92. He's being scored 2 laps down.
So here's the 20. We saw him in the wall. Now he's got damage. He's going to have to come to pit road here. You said it, Steve, trying to find that extra 5% with the bad pit stop, and just overstepped his bounds, got in the wall. Looks like the right rear is low.
Yeah, right rear losing air. I don't see any, I mean, the damage is scuffed up, Marty, but I don't see any crush panels or anything hanging down. We'll see if this can be a normal pit stop.
Yeah, he felt like the right rear was going down. That's why they're going to come down pit road after that contact with the wall. To your point, restarted 25th after that bad pit stop, just trying to make his way through the field with clearly the best long-run car here at Kansas. But that's another fast race car that had a shot to win this race that now is going to be down, what, a couple of laps here. Almirola already down 1 as he leaves pit road.
Now, I will say, if this runs green for the next 20 laps and the leaders all pit, these fresh tires are going to allow the 20 to gain a ton of time. It would have to be a perfect scenario, but if we can run green through the cycle of pit stops and then maybe get a caution like reasonably right after the leaders pit, maybe 5 or 10 laps after the leaders pit, the 20 might actually gain some track position, but it's not a call you would want to make. Obviously, their hand was forced with the damage.
Still up front, Chandler Smith has about a half a second lead over Cole Custer.
I think Cole Custer has a better race car, and I think it shows up in traffic. He's probably about the same when they run top together, but when they have to move off the top, it looks like the 00 can make the pass a little cleaner. Or the lap cars are being nicer because he's in second. It's one of the two.
Currently 24 cars on the lead lap. J.J. Yaley running in that 24th position.
Just ride along with Cole Custer. Listen to him. Listen to the throttle. Kind of driving it like a Darlington, where you go to the throttle, you find grip, you start losing it, you lift off the throttle all the way through the corner. Let's listen again. Normally you would try to go to the throttle and stay in it, but at this racetrack, it's so slick, you're just trying to carry as much pace as you can through the center of the corner. A lot of throttle, back out of it, get grip, find the throttle again.
24 to his 39.
24 to his 39. 10th and a half a second faster doing what he's doing. It's so fun up there against the wall, especially when you're running the guy down in front of you.
And that's what Custer is doing right now. It's down to 0.4 of a second. The gap between Chandler Smith and Cole Custer. 70 laps to go. Lead is heating up. Now Custer almost to the back bumper of Chandler Smith. Lap traffic coming into play.
Custer's able to carry more speed to the center of the corner, and then that helps him on corner exit. Custer really wants to be right against the wall, even on corner exit. Watch what happens here. Custer right against the wall. Chandler turns down, gives him clean air. Chandler's car drives better turning down the racetrack, but it also gives an advantage to Custer. See if Chandler changes his strategy. So far, it's been working. I think with this gap, Chandler just needs to drive his car wherever he thinks is the best, not necessarily trying to block.
I'll be around 10 laps away from a pit stop as well. These crew chiefs are going to be playing a little bit of a game of chicken. 1 lap earlier on pit road for the 00, he would easily leap in front of the 81 with the fresher tires.
All right, if Cole can enter the corner right on the rear bumper of Chandler, it'll force Chandler to do something different. Cole trying to bottom.
Still door.
Chandler Smith into the gas a little earlier, but it's Cole Custer that clears him. Cole Custer makes the pass on the inside. He takes the lead, and I believe that's called momentum that Cole Custer has brought to this race. Won a week ago at Bristol, and now back out in front.
Now the question will be, we figured that everyone could go around 60 laps on fuel, so how aggressive will everybody start to come to pit road, right? For the playoff guys, I think it's a whole lot harder than for the the guys that aren't looking for the points, as we see the 39 of Ryan Sieg on pit road, Kim.
Yeah, and they've been having a great day, which is kind of heartbreaking considering they just missed the playoffs. The first driver, points-wise, out. Right now just needs a little bit more grip and more turn for Ryan Sieg, 4 fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel.
Top of the screen, Parker Kligerman all over the back bumper of Riley Herbst here. Kligerman and Herbst running 9th and 10th. Herbst with the advantage.
Kligerman's car is a little better right now. Those adjustments they made when this run started didn't look like they were very good for Parker, but later in this run, I feel like the 98's backing up to him.
Big wiggle down below, 26 of Corey Heim. And they'll pull away from Corey. All right, Steve, you had mentioned probably around 55 to 60 laps as far as fuel. We're coming up on that 60 laps to go in the race. Will pit road start to get busy?
Yeah, I figure these guys in the Xfinity Series are usually a little more conservative than the Cup guys, so maybe we'll see 3 or 4 laps. Somebody's going to make it uncomfortable, though. A playoff car is going to pit. There you go. Austin Hill from 5th. I was going to say a playoff car is going to pit from the top 5, and then it will be decision time for the leaders, because if you wait too long, you will cycle out behind him, Kim.
And Austin Hill about to go to work. His crew has been one of the best all year. Austin, during the beginning of that run, said they started off loose, but just was trending too tight too quickly. Then by the end of the run, they did start to build up a little bit free as you change 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, and an air pressure adjustment for playoff driver Austin Hill.
00 with Cole Custer, a 6/10 of a second lead over Chandler Smith right now.
They have a big enough gap on 3rd and 4th that I think they can be a little patient, but this will make it more nervous as we see Sam Mayer on pit road, Allmendinger on pit road. Marty.
Yeah, A.J. Allmendinger did say it fired off better, but still lacked grip the longer they ran. So going to make a pretty decent air pressure adjustment here, trying to make that car better. Riley Herbst drove from 26 to 9th during that green flag run. So the car was just a little bit too free at the very, very end of the run, Kim.
You see Sam Mayer at the top of your screen finishing up his pit stop. solid day for him and this team. He was complaining, though, no right rear grip, about 3 numbers too loose on exit, so they did make adjustments in addition to changing tires and taking fuel. As we see more cars on pit road, including Parker Kligerman. He was reporting this run that it was a little loose, but better than being tight. Remember, they made those wholesale adjustments the last stop because he was so tight, could not turn in the center like he wanted to. So they'll put on fresh Goodyear tires and, of course, take fuel, wait on fuel just a second. And then you see Chandler Smith on the bottom of your screen. He just was complaining he needs overall more grip center to off, especially in 3 and 4, as he'll stop in his box and go to work on that, Marty.
His teammate Sheldon Creed wrapping up their pit stop. They had the best car on the long run. Sam McCauley said, let's take advantage of that on this run. Sheldon Creed leaving pit road, was running 4th at the time, tracking down 3rd, Kim.
And Cole Custer starting his green flag stop. His complaints loosen and off, fired off tight in the center. So he'll look for some adjustments during this stop as well.
This tire rolling across pit road could be very nerve-wracking. If I'm Jones Williams, I'm staying on the racetrack. Custer on pit lane. That tire's far enough out in the grass. It might require a yellow. The 00. Oh, there it is, the caution. The question will be, can the 00 get to the end of pit lane? That's what matters. We're trying to pick up Jones. He's slowed down on the backstretch. Oh, what a break for the 00. I believe he will stay on the lead lap because of where Jones was and how the pit cycle was going to work. We'll have to confirm that as it cycles around. Let's see where the tire came from. It came from the Parker Retzlaff machine. Oh, man. And then you're helpless. Now, if I'm a 00, I might jump over there or grab that tire. I don't know if I would guaranteed want a yellow, but we're going to have to see how the scoring cycles all around. I think the 00 is going to stay on the lead lap the way this was going to work because, first of all, they pitted kind of from the lead, and then the cars that stayed out were farther enough back, and with the yellow coming out, they slow down, and he gets scored to pit exit relative to the leader. So when I look at the current running order, Jones, Williams, Dye, we'll let this cycle around, but I think Cole Custer is going to be on the lead lap. It's going to end up being a huge advantage for the 00.
Our scoring monitor has 15 cars on the lead lap, but again, as you mentioned, that's going to reset here. And we're hearing from NASCAR that he did stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, well, let's scoring cycle around and just see who else. I think the 81 as well. He was a lap earlier. I think he ended up staying on the lead lap. It's a good break for Almirola. Remember, he came with those flat tires. He was going to cycle way out to the lead, but on old tires and get gobbled up. Plus, he couldn't make it on fuel. So now Almirola, I think, could pit with this cycle. Now, that would be his last set of tires, but at this point, nothing really has gone right for the 20 other than having an amazing race car. So, Jeff, I think it might be time to, you either put the set of tires on now and cycle up with the leaders, knowing you're a set behind Cole Custer and those guys, or you stay out now, assuming we're going to have a caution. But as much green flag racing as we've seen, I'm just not sure we're guaranteed to see a yellow.
You almost have to wait, let this thing cycle around to see where you are, how many cars are a lap down, right? I think it's probably going to be 15 or so.
So we're hearing the 39 of Ryan Sieg is going to be the free pass. He was the first car scored a lap down.
All right, so let's look at this right here. Make sure I have my line in the right spot. Above Creed is on the lead lap. So that means Custer will stay out. Chandler Smith, Hill, and Creed. You're going to have 4 cars that are going to stay on the racetrack. Almirola could be the 5th. 20-lap older tires, he could stay out and save that last set of tires. Everybody last on pit road around 93. They haven't made their green flag pit stop yet. They're all going to come to pit road. That is going to be very interesting. Then we're going to see who gets trapped down a lap by the guys that are still on the racetrack. So this is going to have to cycle a couple times for us to be able to give you a really clear picture of what the race looks like.
You can see there's some cars that are in between Jones and what will be the leader, and those guys will get back in the lead lap. You just got to let it cycle. It'll be pretty clear here in a couple minutes.
Is Zilich on the lead lap?
Yes.
I mean, he scored on the lead lap, so I just want to make sure that
Connor
people that are
Zilich also was on the lead lap, yeah. So he's that last car. I knew I was going to get that line in the wrong spot. It was behind Zilich.
But it's all good.
Man.
Again, once the scoring continues to cycle through, we make sure everybody that's on the lead lap. And then guys that had just come, Steve, they take the wave around, so they make sure that they...
Well, they can't take the wave around if a car in front of them stays on the racetrack.
That's true.
The key is some potentially are in between the 9 and then, you know, the 81
right.
and those guys. If you're in between it, then you can stay out.
So if you're in this shot right here off the rear bumper of the 00, the 00 is going to stay out. You're not going to be eligible for the wave around. If you're in front of the 00, then yes, Rick, you can then wave back around. You can start all the way at the tail, but you're on the correct lap.
Well, it's the
You think this is hard? You try doing it from down there on a pit box.
You were looking the other direction. For 6 times today, the Whelen caution lights have come on. Whelen, again, the official warning lights of NASCAR, trusted to protect first responders. 6 cautions, and I know we have 53 laps to go, but at Kansas, 6 cautions is probably one of the lower number of cautions at this racetrack.
And you watch right here, the guys that are coming down pit road, right? This is the leader of the race, Brandon Jones. He's coming down. See the 1 car of Mayer. He's going to stay out, so he'll get back in a lead lap.
Marty.
All right, cautions in the middle of a green flag pit cycle, always a lot of fun. You see Brandon Jones coming down pit road, as you guys mentioned. His car just a little bit too free. The main playoff driver coming down pit road is Shane Van Gisbergen, who called his car, quote, woeful at one point, just with no grip. And also to answer the question about Eric Almirola, yes, he did come down pit road to get fresh Goodyear tires. So we'll see how all this plays out. But the 20 car, yes, coming down pit road for those fresh Goodyears.
It looked as though Mayer, Allmendinger, Herbst all were in that gap that you guys were talking about that could get the wave around. So now that we have had pit stops, when we come back, we'll reset the field. Free rewards program, and you can start earning points that turn into member-only rewards. You can earn every time that you check in for a race. Visit NASCAR.com/fan rewards. Cole Custer, last time by, scored as race leader. Chandler Smith, Austin Hill, Sheldon Creed, all part of the top 5, as is Connor Zilich. All right, pros and cons of this caution coming out. Obviously, a pro for Cole Custer. He was on pit road right when it came out.
Yeah, Custer and Chandler Smith, I'm not sure it really affected them a whole lot. They were running 1-2. They're still running 1-2. I think the big difference, you know, good break for the 21 of Hill, 18 of Creed. They're kind of pulled right up in there. Zilich, not a big change to them as well. I think it's for, you know, other cars, the Josh Williams, the Ryan Siegs, the Eric Almirolas, depending on the yellows. SVG, a big break for SVG, running 11th.
There you go. Here's all the guys that were between the pace car and the 00 of Cole Custer. They all got waved around. Now, they, you know, some of these guys maybe still 1 lap down because they were 2, but several of the playoff guys, Allmendinger, Herbst, Kligerman, those guys all waved around back into the lead lap. Sam Mayer.
That's who I think it really hurt, is Mayer, Allmendinger, Herbst, Kligerman. You know, those cars were all higher in the running order. They do get the wave around to Jeff's point, so they're back on the lead lap, but they're going to start tail end. They're going to be the last cars on the racetrack. So this was a 5 or 10 point swing for those 4 playoff cars.
You always want to pit early to put tires on a track where it matters where new tires are faster, but the negative is if you go 4 or 5 and a caution comes out, it gets you in trouble.
The other thing that this caution does, it allows these teams to save fuel, so those that might have been really close, able to save enough fuel to make sure that if there is a green-white checker at the end, that they can make it through that as well. Kim.
And the other thing the caution did is give a little bit more time to Jesse Love and his team to make a big swing on that race car. Danny Stockman, the crew chief, said get 2 jacks in a jack stand. We're going to make some wholesale changes. They pulled the left rear spring rubber out, air pressure adjustments on the tires, opened the left rear shock, put Packer in. Jesse just complaining he was neutral to free on entry, and then several numbers tight center, saying the front end of that race car just did not work.
There's Danny Stockman, veteran crew chief.
CLO's here. He's listening to a lot in that right ear. Yeah, I saw 3 cables plugged in just to the right. Yeah, look at that. 3 radio cables on the right, at least 1 on the left. That's why I have so many voices, Rick, after listening to that many for so many years.
I think the driver that has a lot to gain here, the 97 car of Shane Van Gisbergen, and he's restarting in 11th.
And it will be 49 to go in this race. Cole Custer on the outside and Austin Hill on the inside row as we go back to racing.
Inside lane is just not accelerated best.
Three wide for 6th, and it's the 20 of Almirola who takes the spot and now is moving forward. He gets behind Connor Zilich, who's running 4th now. Daniel Dye in the 10, very close racing there between Alfredo in the 5 and Daniel Dye.
Hey, look at this mess.
Jesse Love in the 2, hoping that the changes they made help the handling on that car. Now Almirola trying to take the spot away from Connor Zilich.
Oh, that's a take was a good word. At lap 25, I don't think he slides up in front of the 88. They ride off there maybe too wide. But with 47 to go, Jeff, Eric Almirola knows, we've already documented just his experience, that you have got to shut the door and move forward. If you allow one more lap of that 88 on your right rear, it's just going to hurt your tires.
Almirola trying to join the group of 2 wins in the 20 car. So far this year, Bell has done it, John Hunter Nemechek has done it, and Ryan Truex has done it. And with 1 win already for Almirola, he's looking for number 2.
We're trying to make this pass on the bottom. If you're going to make the bottom work, new tires is the time. Good entry speed. He's going to try to slide up in front of Eric. Eric's not wanting to let him do it, but took that spot. Good job.
Zilich a little more aggressive there, as the gap now between Chandler Smith and race leader Cole Custer is closing again.
Chandler Smith most of the day has had short run speed. Custer has had long run speed.
Chandler Smith looks to the inside for the lead.
Jeff, I think that point is very important in this battle. The 00 knows that even if the 81 gets by, make him work at it, right? Because his tires were falling off more already. As you see that 81, the back of the car gets really upset with the 00 on the outside of it. Oh, man.
Oh, that's tight.
I'm not sure that was clear. That might have been, you know, a concession by the 00.
Cole Custer's looking at big picture a little bit more maybe than Chandler Smith is. Chandler Smith completes the pass, but look again.
Well, it all started on corner entry because the 00 just laid the left side of his car on the right side of the 81. And right there, 00, a little bit of contact.
So now 43 laps remaining in the race. The 20 of Almirola back by the 88.
I tell you what's impressive about this run. by Zillage is, think about who his teammates are at Junior Motorsports. And he has outrun them most of the day.
Yeah, Brandon Jones in the 9. Brandon Jones had won the pole, then fell back. The 9. The 8 of Sammy Smith had issues early. Justin Allgaier in the 7, also problems.
Well, that 21 is loose. Saw Austin Hill get in the corner and back of the car started moving around. Almirola saw it. He knows he's got to take this spot right now. Drives in the corner pretty deep. Austin Hill tries to match the speed, but just can't do it.
I like this 20 car. I think he's the best car on the racetrack. A couple bad pit stops. One time into the wall with some flat right rear tires. He has no more tires left in the pit, so he needs this thing to run green to the finish. And now that he's into third, I think the 20 can put it right back up on the wall, Marty, where he's the best, and run the leaders down.
Yeah, time for the Toyota driver update with Eric Almirola now in third, and that's a great point, Steve. New life now for Eric Almirola, who at one point was 25th a while ago, just a few laps ago, as a matter of fact. But that caution felt just perfect for them. It allowed them, because they were short on fuel, to pit, get new tires on, and then restart inside the top 10. And honestly, the closest they have been at the beginning of a run pretty much all day long, Ken. And remember, the 20 car might have the best long run car here today. We'll see if Eric Almirola can pull it off.
Another driver who has a good long run car is Cole Custer. Listen to what he said on the radio after Chandler Smith passed him.
He's fucked. He is fucked. Yep. Go get him. He gives up on the long run anyway. Go get him here.
So Cole Custer knows he has a good long run car, thinks Chandler Smith is a sitting duck, and part of this is being the defending champion. I asked Cole what he learned in last year's title run and win, and he said you really have to have an understanding of what it takes each race and each round. One of the things on that list was patience, which Cole is showing right now. On the flip side, Chandler Smith, interestingly enough, before that green flag flew on this run, the team told him, look, you've been taking care of your stuff, and that is great, but you have to get up in there and mix it up. And so that's even more interesting when you take into the consideration the last 5 races, Chandler Smith has finished in the top 10 and has had near wins. And after some of those near wins, he said he maybe has raced a little bit too friendly. So are we seeing Chandler Smith finally turn up the wick here in the playoffs?
Well, he has a 9/10 of a second lead over Custer and 3.9 seconds back to his teammates, which is Eric Almirola running third. Chandler Smith out front. Next Saturday, the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs roll on at Talladega as the top drivers will jockey for playoff position in their race for championship. NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs from Talladega. That's next Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, only on the CW. As Chandler Smith has a 0.8 of a second advantage over Cole Custer. It's 3.8 seconds now back to Almirola, so holding positions with now just 32 laps to go.
32 laps, but traffic ahead as we're on board with Custer. You see the leader out front, and then sporadic lap traffic. And a few tenths of a second, when you get forced off your preferred lane, you can lose that time very quickly.
You really can. And, you know, we said it earlier, Cole Custer has had the best car between these two on a long run, but Almirola might have the best overall car in the long run, but Almirola's over 3.5 seconds behind, and he's going to have to make some serious lap time if he's going to catch him.
I think he can, though. From what I've seen out of this 20, I think in about 15 or 20 laps, you could be talking 3 or 4 tenths of a second a lap. He runs the top as well as anyone. What I don't know is that damage getting in the wall earlier, has it hurt something? And right there, 3 tenths of a second. You do the math. 30 laps, 3 tenths of a second, that easily makes up the gap.
That's worst case scenario, though, because Chandler Smith was behind a lap car, so that held him back just a little bit. But I say that, and here comes Cole Custer. Let's see what happens right here, because Chandler ran a very slow lap the lap before. And kind of the same thing we saw earlier. That 3/4 mark of the corner is where Cole Custer's faster. Right here. Able to stay in the gas, really make some ground up.
Okay, so if Eric Almirola, who races for Joe Gibbs Racing, does close the gap and gets to the 81, who races for Joe Gibbs Racing, is there such a thing as team orders? Because now you have Chandler Smith, who could advance in these playoffs with a win, with a teammate that is probably his biggest competition.
I think there are things as team orders that's called go win. I think that's the team orders. And I think Eric Almirola would pass the 81 without any sort of thought. He passed him for the stage win earlier. He would do the same thing for the race win, probably try even harder.
Well, already you see Almirola has cut that lead. It was over 3 seconds. Now it's down to just over 2.5.
2.7 seconds separating Chandler Smith now and Almirola, who's the fastest car on the track. Marty.
And not to complicate things, Rick, but remember Eric Almirola in the 20 car in the Owners' Championship battle. So, yes, I can answer that question. He would pass the 81 because there's something to fight for with the 20 team. They told him a moment ago, you've been 3 tenths faster than both of the cars in front of you the last several laps. There's plenty of time to get it done. And then they threw this in, Jeff. Remember, the 00 and 81 will start racing each other very soon. You'll catch them much quicker when that happens.
Well, I think that's a great point. Clearly, Custer's a little bit faster right now, but is Chandler Smith going to make the adjustment? He did not make it when we saw Cole get by him earlier in the race. Chandler kept turning down, just like he's doing right here, but he's going to have to make this adjustment. If not, Cole's going to pass him.
And you saw the statistics on the left side with Cole Custer's finishes here at Kansas. This is the only racetrack he races in the Xfinity Series that he doesn't have a top 10 finish in. Currently running second and about to challenge for the lead here.
I'd love to see Chandler right now, before the 00 gets right to his bumper, try the higher exit. Try to learn when you're not under so much pressure, but Chandler's just committed to turning and leaving lower.
And it might be better for Chandler's car, but I think it's just a huge advantage for the 00 that he's leaving that lane. I would agree with you, Jeff. If he could run the same lap time up higher, the defense alone would be an advantage.
Yeah, even if he ran slower, right? Even if he ran a little slower up top, how is the 00 going to pass him on the bottom? I'd make him prove it to me.
Almirola now closing into almost 2 seconds, so he's continuing to close it down. In clean air, it's kind of equal, but when the leaders catch traffic, I think by the time the third place car gets there, he just gets by them quicker.
Surprisingly, Almirola lost 3 tenths of a second there on that last lap. It was already down to 2 seconds and it went up to 2.3, but now it's going back down again.
It's a great battle. Remember, winning moves you to the next round of the playoffs.
Now the 00 runs the lower exit, doing something different.
It's like a carbon copy of what we saw the race earlier. The 00 started trying the bottom. Chandler committed. Oh, big run right here.
Still not able to clear him, but he's closed the gap to 1/10 of a second. And now Almirola's under 2 seconds behind.
Chandler has to make an adjustment. If Cole Custer enters the corner, enters 3 on the bumper of Chandler Smith with forward momentum, Chandler needs to get the thing on the boards, put the right side right against it.
Slower car right now in front of Chandler Smith.
And if the 00 can ever just drive up to the right rear bumper of the 81, I think between losing a lane of racetrack and the aero effect, that's going to make the 81's position even tougher to defend. And I think off turn 4 is the 00's option. He runs low here, try to get a run, stay close enough that when you gas up, you can get to the right rear quarter of the 81. I think he's close enough this time, Jeff.
Yeah, Almirola to only a 1.5 seconds behind. Chandler Smith up higher. It won't stick. Oh, that's so close.
00 cannot get to that right rear quarter panel. But yes, the 20 is coming into the shot. So the 20 of Almirola now under a 1.5 seconds.
It's a game of inches, though, if you think about it. For Custer, he keeps getting closer and closer. He's going to enter turn 3 closer to Chandler Smith than he has this entire time. Let's see if he can make it happen. There's a lap car right against the wall. That's going to affect both of them.
Chandler stayed up a little higher that time. Now as he goes down, he's still able to stay in front of the 00.
2 more lappers. 07 will be the first one.
1.2 seconds back is Almirola. 20 laps to go.
What a race.
And 20 laps is a long time for Eric Almirola and forever for Chandler Smith to try to continue to hold off the 00.
And think about the motivation in that 20 car. They're getting bigger and bigger, getting closer to him.
1.3 seconds. Can he get to the right rear quarter panel? He still cannot.
Cole Custer needs to know that Eric Almirola is now only a second back. 1.2. He's coming. You've got to make this pass.
So far, the focus for Custer has been forward. But here in a little bit, he's going to have to start looking in the mirror.
Well, that's exactly right. You want to be on complete offense. And Chandler's doing a nice job. Chandler's car is not as fast. Oh, he's there now. He's there. Can he stay there?
Oh, he's crossed him over. He's going to have the inside into turn 1.
For the lead. A little paint exchange there as they go into 1.
And Almirola's going to get a big run here.
It was a second before those two ran side by side. The gap back to the 20.
I think Custer got angry at Chandler Smith right there. He cut him off on corner exit, but he can't let his anger change what's working. Got to get back to that top.
Jeremy Clements in the 51 affecting the lines that these two run.
And that was a big gain for Almirola.
0.8 of a second now.
All right, get back focused. Go back to work.
Zillage still back, almost 5 seconds back. He's running 4th. Under 17 laps to go. These two drivers trying to refocus.
And now no traffic between Almirola and the 00. I say that because, oh, as the 00 gasses it up, will he be to the right side this time? No. I say that because the 00's have been running the middle of 1 and 2, the 20 running the top. So will the 81 and the 00 give the 20 the top all the way around 1 and 2? No, now this time the 00 goes back to the top. Oh, I like
right up
this.
Against the wall.
Big momentum down the backstretch.
These two, both Chandler Smith and Cole Custer, a part of the 12 drivers that are in the playoffs. A win and you automatically advance to the next round of playoffs.
Oh, so close.
Almirola driving the 20, not in the Drivers' Championship, but the Owners' Championship for that 20 car.
And Chandler's doing a great job right here. Good forward momentum from Custer. All right, this is the time. This is the time. You got to make it work. You know Chandler's going to give you the outside. Get it right against the boards. Get that clean air on the right side of the car. Chandler turns down. Ease it, ease it. I think Cole's trying so hard to go to the gas so quickly that it's hurting his exit speed. I know it's crazy, but a little more patience would allow him to go to the throttle and with more forward momentum on corner exit.
9/10 of a second back for Almirola. Jeff, when they go into 3, it looks as though Chandler Smith is going a little bit deeper into the turn than we're seeing Cole Custer, but then they even out through the center.
Well, some of it is the lanes that they're running. Right there is where the gain for the 00 is, but Chandler Smith is willing to give that center of the corner speed up to gain corner exit. And so far it's worked.
Once again, lap traffic coming into play here.
I did not think that Chandler Smith had a chance. It looked like to me he was in big trouble. And he is. He does not have as fast of a car. But he has driven it very, very well.
Exactly the way he has to stay in front. He continues to go a little bit lower on the exit of 4 and then drift up the racetrack. And Custer cannot get back to the right side.
Almirola is the closest he's been, and Custer knows it.
Under 7/10 of a second for Almirola now.
All right, so watch right here. You see how much distance the 00 made in the center of the corner? But he's not gaining it on corner exit. Watch what happens. They equal out on entry. Here comes the 00. He's in the gas. He's making progress, but he can't continue it. The 81, he beats him off the corner. So what I would like to see, I'd like to see Cole Custer change it up a little bit. Kind of be more patient on the throttle, wait a little bit more, go full throttle, not have to lift on corner exit.
And now the 20's in the mix. So is there a way to be patient with the 20 right there on the back bumper?
Big run right here by Custer. What can he do with it? See right there, he's got to lift early because he uses so much speed here. He's there. He's there. Great job.
To the outside. Is he going to stay? He does. He keeps the 81 down. Now as they're side by side, here comes the 20.
Still the 20 to get here.
Side by side, and now Cole Custer to the lead. Under 10 laps to go.
The patience by the 00. Finally, he was able to go by, but look at the 20. The first time he gets to the 81, he crosses him over. Can he clear him on entry and slide up between them? He tries to, he's there.
Now the 81 back into the gas, but Chandler Smith has fallen back to 3rd. 9 laps to go at Kansas. Remember, this is the site of the closest Cup finish ever.
The 00 traffic out front, Jeff.
And Chandler did a great job. He doesn't have the car, does not have the speed. Now that Almirola's to Custer, what adjustments does he have to make? Remember, the 81 was slowing the 00 down. So we don't know how much pace the 20 has compared to the 00. We're getting ready to find out.
The gap's getting larger. 7/10 of a second back to Almirola. Custer 8 laps away. A week ago, he wins the regular season championship by winning the race at Bristol. And the first race of the playoffs, Cole Custer. Looks like he has another gear. He's 5/10 of a second in front of Almirola.
Well, keep in mind, the 00 is running the line that the 20 wants to be running. Now the 20 is having to make some adjustments, and that's hurting his pace.
And I think the 00 is being held up this whole time by the 81. He was clearly faster. He just needed to get by. I think the 20 and the 00 have almost the exact same car. The 20's goal was to get the 00 while he was battling the 81. Now the 20 needs to be thinking, trying to time this with traffic. It's still possible. The 00 has 4 cars out front. I think he's going to lap all of them the closing 7 laps.
One car very slow down the back straightaway. I don't know if he'll make it back.
Well, that'll be a huge blow to the 20, who doesn't have any tires left in the pits.
Corey Heim.
Corey Heim. And it's
not running.
Yeah, it's not running. So no power for the 26. He's rolling through the center of 3 and 4.
He's got I don't know if he's going to make it or not. I feel like he's got enough pace to make it to the entrance of pit road.
I agree. I think he's going to make it as well. He's still rolling along. I think NASCAR is going to allow this to play out if he can safely. He's all the way left. I'll give Corey credit. He's as far away from the racetrack as he can find pavement.
Yes, good job by Corey.
He's going to get to pit road.
So then it's just back to the racetrack, the 00 and the 20.
I tell you what, this 20 of Almirola has found something on corner exit. He is turning. He gets to the middle of the corner and he hangs a left in 3 and 4, and it's been working.
Right to the back bumper of Custer. He's going a lower line through 1 and 2. Up to the wall he goes, down the back stretch. They're separated by a car length.
Traffic ahead for the 00.
Watch this 20. Watch him turn left right here. That's what he's been able to do the last few laps, and it's been working.
Custer went down a little bit as well, but now the 20 to the back bumper of Cole Custer.
Custer won a week ago at Bristol. Can he go back-to-back, end the regular season, and then win the first race of the playoffs? Traffic helps the 00 there. Doesn't allow the 20 to turn left.
Under 4 to go. Cole Custer has never won back-to-back races in his career.
That time the 20 turned early on corner entry.
And he's got to run. He gets to the quarter panel. Here comes the 20. Almirola has the advantage.
Barely there, barely there.
Eric Almirola out front again. Here comes the 00. He tries to go to the inside. He's not going to have enough momentum to get by the 20 as he goes up the racetrack. Almirola still up front.
That was a great adjustment by Eric Almirola. He found a way to get his car to make speed. He's trying it again. That may give Custer the outside. It doesn't.
2 laps to go. Almirola fighting from almost 5 seconds back, and now out front. And Cole Custer watching him get smaller in his windshield. 0.3 of a second the gap. Back out in front of the grandstands, 1 lap to go. Presented by Credit One Bank. Eric Almirola, just a few starts in this 20. He's been to victory lane already at Martinsville. As I mentioned before, 3 other drivers have won twice in the 20. This could be the 8th win for the 20 in 2024. Almirola is going to grab his 6th career Xfinity Series win, and it happens here at Kansas.
I told you, boys. I told you. And that's why you never give up.
Almirola was a full-time Cup Series driver. Wanted to step away. The sponsor said, we need you to come back at least for a year. He did. And said, I'm going to step away from full-time Cup racing, but I still want to be a part of NASCAR. And so he got a limited start schedule with Joe Gibbs Racing behind the wheel of the 20. And he gets to victory lane here for the 2nd time in 2024 behind the wheel of this 20. 8 wins now for the 20 car. '98 chasing after the 21 here. Remember, they had some issues on the track earlier. playoff drivers pull up to a different area. That's why you're seeing some of the cars stopped on pit road, and the 21 and 98 still rolling. Celebration has started for Eric Almirola in this 20 team. Austin Hill quickly out of the 21 on the bottom of your screen. Almirola gets the win. He only led 16 laps in this race, but you saw what he did at the end to get by the 0-0 of Cole Custer.
NASCAR Xfinity Series win, Eric Almirola.
Fans here know the battle that Eric Almirola has gone through in his racing career. It was 2017 at this very racetrack where he broke his back in an accident. And now back to victory lane. Kim, let's hear from this winning driver.
Yeah, big win here at Kansas Speedway for Eric Almirola. Fan favorite with the burnout he just did on the start-finish line. Wow, what a run for you and this team today, Eric. That last green flag stretch, it's like you knew you had the car to beat. You were so methodical, overtaking Cole Custer and waiting. How patient did you have to be over that last run?
Really patient. I obviously wasn't patient earlier in the race. I'm wore out. That was a long day, or a hard day at the office, especially for a guy who's been sitting on the couch. Yeah, I just overdrove. I knew we had such a great He Gets Us Toyota GR Supra. I was able to get by everybody on the long run, and I just pushed too hard there when we had the issue on pit road, and I got in the fence and cut the right rear tire down. So I knew I had to put my head down and go to work after that. We got lucky to get the caution when we did, and then we were out of tires. So the fact that it went green there to the end, and that's where we were strong. We were really strong on the long run. Yeah, it just worked out. I want to thank God first and foremost. This is such an awesome opportunity to do this with Coach. Thank you so much again. I know I say it over and over. I sound like a broken record, but this is so much fun to come and race these cars for Joe Gibbs Racing. Everybody at Toyota, the GR Supras are fast as the Xfinity Internet. And just really hats off to Seth and Ziggy, Chance, Greg, Joey, Giggles back at the shop, everybody, all the guys, all the pit crew guys. They have been fast with this group, and just victory lane has eluded them. So I've told them all week, I'm like, man, I'd love nothing more than to share a beer with you guys in victory lane and go get our picture made. So, and I got a really good friend of mine, George, who's been with me through thick and thin with Smithfield, and he lives here in Kansas City. And I told him, I was like, man, I hope you come to the race. I've got a good feeling about it. So going to celebrate with him and Janice in victory lane. Hi to the kids. They're back home with my mom. Love you guys. And we're going to celebrate this one.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Big win for Eric Almirola and this team. We'll see him back in this car for the remainder of the 6 races this season.
All right, there you have it, Eric Almirola, the winner this afternoon here at the Kansas Speedway. On pit road, there was a lengthy conversation between the Riley Herbst automobile team.
So again, there were issues on track, and we see Cole Custer going up to Chandler Smith. So conversations going on between those two drivers. Custer not happy about it. Austin Hill, we knew that he felt bad about what he did, obviously, to Riley Herbst. Riley Herbst, he and Austin are going to have a little chat. And there you see Sammy Smith and Allmendinger. So a lot of conversations taking place.
And welcome.
So if you wanna go up to the top, you may only get one shot. And if there's no shot at the top, always give everything you've got.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.